So, boys and girls, it's the Gypsy again. At it again. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it was. Yes, it's gonna be. Looks like I'm gonna be doing some more videos. Okie dokie. Here we go. Today's conversation, the topic of the day is. Let's see here. Joyce versus Daniel Dubois. And then I'm going to make another. I'm going to talk about also the fight with Chisora and Usyk. And who I think is going to win. It's going to be a prediction video. Who I think is going to win on each fight. First fight. Joyce versus Daniel Dubois. That's an easy one. Easy pickings. I have Daniel Dubois knocking that guy out in the 9th round. The reason being is Joyce is a stiff motherfucker. He's a stiffo, you know. I'm not saying he's gonna have coronavirus when he gets in there and he gets beat. No, he's a stiff guy. He barely moves around much. That's why fucking Usyk was bouncing around, easily tagging him up. Daniel Dubois isn't much of a mover himself, but he's more of a mover, and has. On top of that, he works off the jab much better than fucking Joyce. Joyce is more of a 1-2, possibly 3 guy. Daniel Dubois can find you at 1, 2, 3, possibly 4, and even those 5 if he catches you on the ropes. And on top of that, I think his will to win is greater than fucking Joyce. Joyce's will to win is not so great. It's like kind of like Peter Parker. Parker's will to win, he's a great boxer, better than Joyce, a lot better than Joyce, I might add. Obviously, you can tell by the rankings as well in the heavyweight division. But the problem with Joyce, the problem with Parker is Joyce. Let's just say the problem with Joyce is that similar to Parker is that his will to win isn't that great. And when he gets hit, it's like you can tell it's like he's kind of lethargic when he fights. It's like when he gets hit, he's like, he wonders, how hard that punch was. But, he actually thinks about it. But Daniel Dubois, on the other hand, he just goes at it, man. When he gets hit, he still goes at it. That's how that Gourmet, whatever his name is, Gorman. That's why that guy got fucked up, because. Obviously he was dealing with a power puncher. Daniel Dubois is a power puncher. So is Joyce, don't get me wrong. But Joyce's power, I think, is not in the same caliber as Daniel Dubois. And on top of that, Daniel Dubois will bring it. Daniel Dubois is going to make... He's gonna do big things later on, bro. I suspect him even beating the lights of AJ. Yeah, the AJ that fought Ruiz, the second fight, bouncing around, doing all that shit. Could give Daniel Dubois some problems boxing around him, but he got protected in that fight. I don't care what anybody says. The referee was protecting AJ. Anyways, so even a AJ like that would have serious problems against Daniel Dubois. He picks his shots very accurately. He's a very intelligent prospect fighter. I expect him to knock out Joyce in the 9th round. The reason why I say 9th, not early, because Joyce has a chin on him. He will survive for a long period until he gets beat up to a point where it's a TKO or a possible knockout. I'll just say a TKO. Yeah, that's the bottom line. It's pretty easy to fucking pick that fight. I've been saying that for a very long time, that Joyce ain't nothing special about Joyce, honestly. It's just a guy that they just like to promote a little bit, just like how they promote, what's that guy's name? David Price. David Price is actually better than Joyce. I think David Price can actually beat Joyce if the chin isn't, if he plays smart and doesn't get hit in a certain angle. David Price can beat Joyce as well. So I got Daniel Dubois knocking out Dubious. The Daniel Dubois knocking out or TKOing Mr. joyful joyness. And he doesn't even look very joyful anyhow. Every time you see Joyce. I don't know. Wonder why the parents named him Joy. You know. Anyways, their joy of their, probably the first kid, joy of their lives. Anyways, that aside, yeah, Joy gets knocked out, 9th round, TKO'd. Let's move on to a better, more interesting fight. More interesting indeed is Chisora versus Usyk. I believe Usyk beats Chisora in a 12-round decision. It's pretty obvious for most people. But there's a thing with, in both cases, they both have problems with dealing with an opponent of their kind. You know what I mean? Like, Chisora has problems with people that move around. Usyk has problems with people that are tough, like Rivas. Fighters like Rivas will give somebody like Usyk problems. And you can, for sure, when you like Briedis, you guys noticed, but Briedis' technique is not as good as, for instance, somebody like Bietrabiev, who beat the shit out of him in the amateurs and got robbed. You know what I mean? But yeah, like a juggernaut fighter, he has a hard time fighting against guys like that. So they both have, they're like a bane for each other. You know what I mean? They both have banes for each other. But the problem is with Usyk, it's not easy to knock out Usyk, first of all. And Usyk is going to be the favorite. Even if he loses on a close 12-round fight with Chisora. Yeah, and but there's a big chance that he just runs around, jabs him, and then follows up with some combinations, pivoting around him, and Chisora has a hard time hitting him, just like how Vitaly Klitschko did to Chisora, and just like Tyson Fury did to Chisora. Don't mention Dylan White. Dylan White's not in that conversation. So, what else do we have here? Yeah, that's what's going to happen. I think this fight is going to go 12 rounds, where it's going to be a unanimous decision for Usyk. And if it's a fight that's close, they're not even going to give it a split decision or MD, same difference, same shit. You know what I mean? MD, a split decision, same thing. They're not going to give it to him. That way, they're going to give it to him as a unanimous decision. And yeah, that's how it's going to work out. But if there is a knockout, and I'll repeat it again, if there is a knockout in this fight, I suspect Chisora to be the guy to be knocking him out. I do not suspect Usyk to knock out Chisora at all whatsoever. I do, even if it's the later rounds, I don't see. Usyk has power, but he does not have that kind of power. Let me just say that much. He does not have that kind of power to take out somebody like Chisora. Chisora is a juggernaut. You know what I mean? He just walks around. Big stuff. He needs to be dealt with. In order to knock out a guy like that, you need a power puncher. And Tyson Fury did knock him out. He TKO'd him in the 10th round, I think, in their second fight. But Tyson Fury is a heavy hitter. He is not a pillow-fisted motherfucker. You know what I mean? He actually, Vitaly Klitschko, hits a lot less, harder than fucking somebody like Tyson Fury. These are facts. And I can guarantee you, if Vitaly ever stepped in a ring with fucking Tyson Fury, he would get the same, I won't say the same beating that Wilder got, not like that, but he'll get beat down like his brother. He'll lose like his brother did in the first fight. Anyways, yeah, that's all I gotta say about those two predictions. And what else can I add? Not to mention that the way Tyson Fury beat Chisora was more of a cat playing with his food than fucking how Vitaly did it. Vitaly wasn't really playing. He was more like trying to stay away from every fucking punch that fucking Chisora was throwing at him and trying to find an opening to throw his. So Chisora, Usyk, Usyk is going to survive. If he gets hit, he gets rocked. He might survive running around. That's what's going to happen. Most likely, if when that fight happens, hopefully this coronavirus doesn't cause havoc to the point where these fights are never made this year. And if it does happen, that's what I predict for those fights. And also, I have to say that, oh, is that a cop? Or are you just happy to see me? No, it's not a cop. Okay. That's a cop, actually, but he's not following me. Let's go. Let's grow. Anyhow, all that shit aside, I'll make another video on the possible fight with Saunders versus Canelo and who I think is going to win that fight later on. And let me address a few things about Tyson Fury while there's allegations and shit like that. Tyson Fury, yes, his glove was a little bit out, but that's not much of a cheating in the first place, in my opinion. He got his gloves out a little bit. You know what I mean? That wasn't a lot. It was not much of a... Yeah, they say certain fighters, they don't always put their gloves if they're not power punchers. This is what I heard. This is new to me, but I heard about this. But certain fighters that are not power punchers usually do that to flick their jab to make it difficult for their opponent. But I've never heard of any cheat. It's a form of cheating. You can go ahead and say that, but it's not much of a cheating. And the one thing that actually hurt, unlike these guys that back up these fangirls of Wilder, the thing that actually hurt fucking Wilder was the right hand. It was not the left hand that had the glove a little bit loose. You know what I mean? It was not the left hand. It was the right hand. And the punch that you could deliver off of that left hand is not going to be as devastating if his glove is all the way in. It's actually going to be more harder on the guy that you're delivering the punch to when your glove is all the way in, not the way Tyson Fury had it. It's more of the only advantage he had over that was the reach, but I'm telling you again, the knockout was a legitimate knockdown, and the knockout as well, of course, but the knockdown in the third round, the second fight, was a legitimate thing. He actually landed it with the right hand. The right hand is what fucking destroyed Wilder, and Wilder did not suspect, as I said in my last video, he did not suspect the power from Fury at 270, and guess what? That's exactly what happened. And to the point where these guys are tripping out and thinking that, Fury might have, loaded his gloves or some shit, you know what I mean? Which didn't happen. Anyways, I think that covers it all, right? I mean, should I add some more spice to the mix? Or should I just leave it at the 2 fights only? And then I'll mention Saunders and Billy Joe Saunders and fucking Canelo later on in another video. And who I think is going to win that fight. A little more in-depth. That's a more difficult type fight to pick, even though, yes, Canelo might have a decision factor on his side. But you never know. If he gets 2 outboxed for too long, he might actually... Yeah. He might actually lose that fight. You never know. Just like how Mayweather took him out. You know what I mean? Anyways, guys, it's been real. The coronavirus is real too. No, it's not. Everybody's gonna get that shit. Gypsy. Yowza.